And hey guys, welcome back to the channel, back with the Wandering Mariner. So tonight we are taking some questions from yesterday's video and putting them into today's video. So yesterday we had a great question about firefighting, or actually the question actually came up today. But here we go getting into it. So the question is from Francis K7997. He says, I've applied twice to become a damage controlman, both times not getting selected. Should I keep trying or should I apply for AEL? I spent 10 years in the Navy and have sea time. Not sure if I will do entry level or go to SIU. Any thoughts? So I guess that brings up some questions there, Francis. And the things that I would probably ask myself is, why damage controlman with military Sealift command? And like, are you looking to replicate like your experiences in the Navy and kind of leverage what you did there to get a good job now? Or is it a long-term goal to be dealing with firefighting equipment? Or like, is it, why military Sealift command? Is it returning to sea? Is it supporting the Navy? Is it the structure of life on board a ship? Or is it opportunity to travel? Because like, I was a Navy recruiter for a long time. And as a Navy recruiter, I've noticed that a lot of times when people joined the armed forces or made moves, they were always looking for change in their life for some reason. And that's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, making military Sealift command a job, it's not something that most people just try. If you watched yesterday's video, which I believe you did because you left the comments in it, but the thing is, like, if you're going to go to military Sealift command, there's a long process to get hired. There's the application and then you get accepted, but then you have to go through all the rigmarole to get the position. So, you know, you talked about SIU and military Sealift command, and I've done both. And for me, you know, they're like years apart. Military Sealift command is a government entity where, you know, SIU, you're working for commercial companies that are all about the bottom dollar of getting the mission done and going to the next job and boom, boom, boom. It's all business. Where military Sealift commands work at a little play every once in a while. You get some time off the boat. You get, you know, you have that kind, not as good as the Navy's liberty, but you do get some time off. So just some questions that I'd probably ask myself on like why I'm really doing this, and is it really something I want to do? Because if it is, you know, I say go for it without a doubt. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the requirements for this, especially you, Francis, because maybe this will clear some stuff up for you. So unlike the Navy, damage controlmen are in part of deck department. They are not part of the engineering department. So when you get assigned to a ship as a damage controlman position, you are more or less the fire marshal. And as the fire marshal, you're doing all the maintenance to all the firefighting gear. The chief mate, who's like the executive officer of the ship almost, he is overall in charge of all firefighting and rescue operations of the ship. So you're going to end up working for him, plus all the deck officers all run all the repair lockers and everything else. So they are under that umbrella of damage control on the ship. So you got the chief mate, then you got all the officers, and then you have the fire marshal that kind of runs, takes care of the maintenance of everything and keeps all the upkeep and helps the chief make sure that we pass all the inspections and everything. And then the whole crew is part of the damage control and firefighting team, right? So, but with the requirements of this job, I want to get into it real quick here. So it says you have to have a U.S. passport and has to be at least 7 months left before expiry. You have to have a TWIC card, which is super easy to get as long as you're not a felon, and you have or a CAC card or DoD card with a minimum of 10 months. You can check online. They have centers all over the country. You can go get that. And you have to have your Merchant Marine credentials with a minimum of 10 months remaining before expiration. And what you probably already found out, Francis, is Damage Controlman is not a source rating for like able-bodied seamen. So if you did do it, you would be an entry-level position if you were looking to get hired and go to sea. Now, like I said, on the ship, the damage control it's not a full-time job unless you're the actual fire marshal. And when they go into the explanation here of the different jobs, they talk a little bit more about not only those requirements, but then it says, and you have to have previous military experience, E5 or above, and that's the bare minimum. What they're really looking for somebody that's going to be hired as a damage controlman is typically somebody that's retired as a DCC or has had lots of years of experience of damage control and equipment and whatnot. Or they could have federal or civilian experience in at least one of the following documented skill sets. So you could be coming out of firefighting for federal employment or whatnot, because lateral conversion, federal jobs, right? But you have to be a minimum, a secondary qualification of some sort as a small arms instructor, shipboard damage control, towing and salvage, operations specialist, ammunitions management, or shipboard aviation. Well, I was an operations specialist and ops chief, so technically I would be qualified to fill this job, technically, but I'm not what they're really looking for. Or you could be a certified search and rescue swimmer. So this is where I like to see where Military Sealift Command tries to get a twofer. You know, they want a 2-for-1 kind of person. So what they're really looking for here is if you're a search and rescue swimmer, we'll hire you as a damage control officer, damage controlman, and you go to the ship and you could be a search and rescue swimmer. Or, you know, if you're a shipboard arms instructor, these are all types of collateral duties that they need to get filled on smaller ships that they could get 2-for-1. And not every ship has a damage controlman position. So it is very challenging to get into this field. And because you're not a source rating to get your able-bodied seaman, you would have to start out as an ordinary seaman and kind of work your way up. And that's talking just shipboard. Now let's talk about the afloat training team. And then there's a third part, which is the schoolhouse, where they actually teach all the new orientation firefighting and the basic classes that are required for everybody's recertification. So you go to different schoolhouses to go through all this firefighting training. So the first part of the shipboard, we kind of talked about that. Then there's the afloat training teams that go out to each ship, and they are training you, but really they're training the trainers. They're going out to all those chief mates and assisting them and kind of doing one-on-one training with the people on deck to see, do you meet all the qualifications to have shipboard survivability if there was a fire. So that's kind of what they're doing, is they're going out there, they're assessing you and they're training you. And they're also seeing how good your own training is on board the ship to train yourselves, because they can't come out every 6 months and redo the training for everybody. So there's the afloat training team, and then there's the coveted schoolhouse. Now the schoolhouse and the afloat training team, I would say 80 to 90% of all the people that work in those positions are previous chief mates or people that have lots of experience in firefighting, or they're officers that have been parlaying their experience of being repair locker leaders and whatnot with hopes to get a coveted shore duty job still within the federal job system, but they don't have to go to sea. So you have that mix there. So, it's a tough gig to get into. I think that it's not one that people roll into fairly easy. And as far as going to SIU, if you go to SIU, you're not going to be doing damage controlman stuff either. You're going to have to go in as an ordinary seaman most likely, or unless you want to go wiper and work up down in engineering department. And it's all based on where your long-term goals are, and like, are you willing to start a new role in life? You're kind of parlaying your experience with the Navy, but if that wasn't really what you wanted to do in the Navy, for whatever reason, will SIU or Military Sealift Command satisfy that itch that you still have to kind of go to sea, maybe without all the regulation and the militant that the military is. But, every company has corporate vibes to it in some way. The military has their way. MSC has their way. There's kind of the political rigmarole everywhere you go, no matter what. But hopefully you got some value out of this. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you keep putting your questions below, because I want to keep doing more videos until I get enough videos to answer all these questions for you guys. So more to come. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll hit you on the next one. Peace.